Okay, cool. So just to make sure that it started and all that set up, okay. As the presiding officer of this chamber, I do hereby declare this Congress open. The first bill that we will be debating today is a bill to implement a national standard for paid parental leave to help working parents. Would anyone like to sponsor the bill? Please stand. Representative Bell.
I just write impromptu generator to go into board.
Hi, I'm Representative Bell from the wonderful school of Fort Walton Beach, and Contingent on healthier families, stronger workforce. Neil 21 states, despite women representing 47% of the current U.S. labor force, only 16% of employed Americans have access to paid parental leave to their workplace. As many as 23 of employed mothers return to work within 10 days of giving birth because of their inability to pay for living expenses without income. The statistics provided this highlights the disparity between the number of working women in the U.S. and access to paid parental leave. Census 23 states that we found that paid parental leave is associated with the beneficial effects on the mental health of mothers and children, including the decrease in postpartum maternal depression and intimate partner violence, and improved attachment and child development. The statistic provided illustrates a significant gap in access to paid parental leave, which has far-reaching effects on families. Cotillo 23 states that research consistently shows that paid parental leave leads to numerous mental health benefits for mother and children. It significantly reduces postpartum depression, improves infant attachment, and supports early child development. Moreover, it can decrease instances of intimate partner violence by reducing financial stress and promoting a more balanced household environment during the vulnerable postpartum period. The benefits underline the critical need for a national paid parental leave policy to protect well-being of families. Conclusion to economic benefits. Countries with paid parental leave have higher labor force participation, especially among women. Paid parental leave boosts productivity as employees return to work healthier and more focused after adequate time off. Winston 16 states that parental leave significantly improves child health by fostering stronger bonds between parents and their newborns, which is crucial for emotional and cognitive development. The early attachment helps reduce anxiety, behavioral issues, and development delays later in life. Additionally, paid parental leave increases breastfeeding rates, which boosts the baby's immune system, reduces the risk of infection, and lowers the chance of chronic conditions like asthma, obesity, and diabetes. With more time at home, parents can also monitor their children's health closely and attend regular medical appointments and respond quickly to any signs of illness, contributing to the overall better infant health. And that's why I vote F.
Okay. Thank you, Representative Bell. Would anyone please who would like to ask questions, please rise. First question goes to Representative Ward.
Okay. In the affirmative world, where would this money for parental leave going to be coming from?
Okay, so as stated in the bill itself, the Department of Labor will first oversee and also provide a guideline, and they'll also be paying the cost for this bill.
Okay, and how would you address the fact that people of color are being unequally affected if we pass this bill?
Okay, so basically under this bill, it will mandate that all workforces allow all of their workers to have this time off. So this gap that is affecting people of color or workers at all will be lowered by affirming this bill. Right?
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Would anyone else like to question? Representative Beckman.
Representative Bell, how would you respond to the employment discrimination against women likely to be caused by this bill?
Okay, so first off, beforehand, there's the discrimination of women, as I stated in my speech, having to go back to work so soon after giving birth because they cannot pay for their lives without this income. And with this bill, it provides for them to always have the income after birth. They're not having to go back to work 10 days after giving birth or such a short period of time, and they'll still have the money to pay for themselves, their well-being, and their child. Thank you.
Okay. We have time for one more question. Representative Wiley.
Okay. Representative Bell, how would you respond? Or actually, are there more positive benefits with this bill?
There are more positives than negatives for this bill because what it's providing is a more healthy environment for our children and our parents. By not having women having to go back to work so early after giving birth, it allows their child to develop more, stopping, as I said in my speech, cognitive delays that happen later in life. This bill is mostly positive. There are not many negatives on this bill. Thank you.
Okay, that's all the questions we have. Any speakers liking to speak, any speakers who would like to speak in the invocation, please rise. Representative Nakamas.
My name is Representative Nakamis, standing in negation of this bill. We'll begin when everybody is ready.
There are 333 million people residing in the U.S. 168 million are currently in the workforce, and over 70% of that workforce is made up of parents. Paid parental leave is not inherently a bad idea, but granting paid parental leave for over 3 or 4 months for new parents can have huge consequences, socially and economically. Stanford University studies describes a huge social consequence that can come from this bill. Some employers who find paid parental leave costly may discriminate against those groups who are most likely to take paid parental leave. And they're going to do this by being less likely to hire them or offering lower wages. Those groups being new mothers or women of childbearing age, which is over a third of the entire workforce according to the U.S. Department of Labor. This sort of sex-based discrimination is obviously a bad thing societally and can hugely disrupt the workforce, given that at least 76% of mothers are working. In another study by the ICA World Labor Organization looking at the U.S. workforce, mothers were perceived less favorably than non-mothers during recruitment, but no differences between fathers and non-fathers were found. This discrimination is already there in the workforce, and this bill is going to push it even further and make it worse for American women. Even if employers don't have to fund the leaves themselves, they're going to face indirect costs by needing to hire replacement workers according to the schedules of their employees. These indirect costs will build up, and like I said earlier, cause employers not hire those most at risk of taking leave. Not to mention, in the bill itself, there's no mention of where this money will be coming from, which implies that employers will be paying for this directly, costing companies a great amount of money, which again will discourage them from hiring those most likely to take leave, young women. In conclusion, we can't afford to pass this bill. While the concept of paid leave is important and is beneficial, 16 weeks is far too long, risk increasing hiring discrimination is far too costly.
Okay, anyone who would like to question, please rise. Representative Shislek?
Okay, Representative McInnes, how do the extra costs that come with parental leave outweigh the positives that come with parental leave?
Well, the positives are mostly about the emotional benefits and familial benefits for the parents and the children, but the cost is going to cost us money for the economy and our women's rights and views in society, and that's going to affect everybody, not just parents.
Okay, anyone else would like to question? Representative Sanford?
Representative McInnes, on average, what is the total cost of parental leave?
Given that the bill is granting 4 months of parental leave, based on statistics from the Bureau of Labor, it's going to be over $18,000 per person.
Okay, thank you very much. Seeing that the time for debate on a bill to implement a national standard for paid parental leave to help working parents has passed, I now declare debate over. We'll move directly to voting. All who would like to pass the bill, please stand. Okay, you may be seated. Anyone who would like to fail the bill, please stand. Seeing that there was no majority in either side, the presiding officer will cast a tie-breaking vote in favor of the negation. So the bill has failed. We will now move to a bill to implement a national standard for, wrong bill. We will now move to a bill to mandate voter participation to increase national voter turnout. Anyone who would like to sponsor that bill, please rise. Representative Ruiz.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Representative Lewis, and today I'm speaking in an affirmative of a bill to mandate voter participation in the United States of America. Mandated voting, where citizens are legally required to participate in elections, presents several compelling advantages that enhance the democratic process and societal well-being. One of the primary advantages is the promotion of higher voter turnout. In democracies where voting is voluntary, turnouts can be low, usually on the basis of a sense of hopelessness from the constituents or inability to make it to the polls. Mandated voting helps ensure that a larger portion of the population engages with the electoral process, leading to outcomes that better reflect the views and interests of the nation. The University of Chicago's Center for Effective Government found in 2024 that the canonical model of voter turnout expects that people will vote if participants' expected benefits exceed its anticipated costs, which occurs when you have mandated voter systems as presented by this bill. In addition, increased voter participation also strengthens the confidence of the population in elected officials and our democracy as a whole. When a larger segment of society is involved in choosing leaders and shaping policies, The resulting government is more likely to be trusted and listened to by the population as they had an active role in its creation. This trust can reduce political polarization and increase public trust in the democratic process as policies are crafted based on a wider array of perspectives. Additionally, mandated voting can encourage greater political awareness and education among citizens. Knowing that voting is a legal obligation may prompt individuals to become more informed about candidates and issues, fostering a more engaged and knowledgeable electorate. This can lead to more thoughtful and meaningful participation in the political discourse and decision-making. Now, some critics argue that the mandated voting infringes on personal freedom, but this perspective overlooks the fact that broader societal benefits outweigh personal freedoms. Just as laws require citizens to contribute to the public good through jury and taxes, mandated voting can be seen as a civic duty that reinforces the health of a democracy. By ensuring that all eligible voters have a say in the governance of their country, mandated voting continues to be a more trusted and effective democratic system. It is for all these reasons that I urge you to vote in affirmative.
Okay, anyone who would like to question, please rise. Representative Lang.
You mentioned that many people don't vote because of an inability to get to the polls. How would you combat this problem if this bill is passed?
Well, as the bill itself has allowances in it for situations such as this. So by passing this bill, we eliminate the issue that people don't vote due to a sense of helplessness, and that it inherently solves for the issue of people not being able to make it to the polls.
Thank you.
Okay, anyone else who would like to question, please rise. Representative Beckman.
Do we not agree that this bill would result in uneducated voting students?
Actually, that was the third point I made, that if people are made to vote, then that inherently means they educate them more on what they're voting on.
Do you have any proof of that?
I cited overall a University of Chicago Center for Effective Government.
Okay, one more questioner. Representative Wiley.
Representative Cole, would it be logical that there would be more infringement on personal freedom due to the fact that our systems would be forced?
Yes, however, the wider societal benefits outweigh any infringements upon personal freedoms. In the same way that taxes or jury duty could be considered infringements on personal freedoms, we still allow them because of greater societal benefit.
Okay, thank you. Okay, that's all the questioning for the first affirmation speaker. Would anyone like to speak now on mitigation? Representative Mateo Everett.
I am ready when the chamber's ready. Imagine being forced to make a decision about something you don't care about, know little about, or even disagree with fundamentally. Mandating voting strips away the essence of democracy, which is rooted in the freedom to choose. It's not just who we vote for, but whether we choose to vote at all. Compulsory voting turns a voluntary civic duty to an enforced chore, weakening the power of personal conviction. Democracy thrives on not just participation, but informed participation. So when you force someone to vote, you risk filling the ballot boxes with random, uninformed choices, ones that don't reflect the true will of the people. Voting should be an act of freedom and choice, where individuals participate because they believe in the candidates, policies, or the system itself, not out of fear of fines or punishment. And let's be honest, compulsory voting does not guarantee a stronger democracy. Countries with mandatory voting may have a higher turnout, but that doesn't always translate to a more engaged or satisfied populace. In fact, it often leads to resentment and people starting to see voting as a burden rather than an opportunity to shape their future. Mandating voting assumes that every citizen is equipped with the knowledge and resources to make an informed decision. But what about those who distrust the system or lack access to reliable information? At its core, democracy is about choice. And when we start compelling people to participate in the democratic process, we get dangerously close to undermining the very freedom it stands for. Instead of mandating voting, we should focus on making voting more accessible, improving civic education, and addressing the barriers that prevent voluntary engagement. Because true democracy isn't about numbers, it's about genuine, informed participation.
Okay, would anyone like to question? Representative Chislett.
Representative Reagan, how could you inform others without access to information about elections and their voter turnout? Or without education to increase their voter turnout, sorry. Increasing education is important, But today we're discussing the freedom that people should have. If they don't want to vote, they shouldn't be forced to vote.
Okay, would anyone else like to question? Representative Ward.
Representative Matera, could you further explain how this would be undemocratic?
Our democracy lies on freedom. So if we're forcing citizens to vote, it goes against everything that our democracy stands for.
Thank you.
Okay, that concludes debate on a bill to mandate voter participation to increase national voter turnout. We will now move to voting on that bill. So anyone who would like to pass the bill, please rise. Okay, you may be seated. Anyone who would like to fail the bill, please rise. You may be seated. Seeing a majority in favor, a bill to mandate voter participation to increase national voter turnout has been passed. That is all the agenda items we have on the docket, so I hereby declare this session of Congress to be adjourned.